Okay, and now it's time for another installment of what is fast becoming the most popular segment here on the channel, the Ring IQ Hate Mail. Cigar Talk, reacting to yesterday's Navarrete versus Nunes unification match, said the recency bias on here gets crazy. Navarrete is a good fighter for sure, but now he's top 10, pound for pound. Y'all have got to stop. Have to at least beat the best in your division to be considered. To which I responded, if you have Gervonta Davis on your pound for pound, he literally never beat the best in his divisions. Not at 130, 135, or 140, So here's where it gets interesting. A guy who goes by the name Prince Luther said he didn't get gifted a title shot after title shot from the white man, so everything he did was legit. Damn sure didn't get stopped and went on to unify two belts. Everyone y'all love has manipulated wins or belts.
You stop you right there, Hud Booger. Because if you're talking about Emmanuel Navarrete, he's never been stopped either. And I don't know what manipulating you're talking about. If you're talking about manipulating the rating system, that actually applies more to Gervonta than Emmanuel Navarrete. Gervonta, who had the WBA manufacture a title for him at 130.
A vacant title they made up out of thin air so that he could fight for it against the guy from 126.
Then again at 135 pounds, another manufactured title they made up out of thin air so he could fight a faded Yuriorkis Gamboa for it.
Because at the time, the full WBA champion was Vasyl Lomachenko, and we all know that at that time, Gervonta Davis didn't want to fight him. Gervonta Davis has never fought the best at any weight he's ever campaigned. Not at 130, not at 135, not at 140.
When he beats Mario Barrios for a WBA Reggie, Mario Barrios was not the best 140-pounder at the time. Josh Taylor was. He was undisputed, and he was the full WBA champion, but Gervonta didn't want to fight him, so he fought a no-name, a scrub, instead.
Because Gervonta Davis has never fought the best at any weight he's ever campaigned, and he's not about to. Though what does he have to do with Emmanuel Navarrete? You see, this guy, Prince Luther, takes every opportunity to inject Gervonta Davis into conversations.
When no one's conversing about him.
I responded by saying a white motherfucker offered him millions to unify titles with Tevin Farmer at 130 pounds, and Gervonta turned it down. So you should probably stop blaming the white motherfuckers. To which Prince responded, bruh, I'm not doing this all day. He doesn't work with those manipulated clowns.
Yes, he does. That's all the WBA's been doing for this guy for years. Manipulating the rating system and manufacturing titles out of thin air so he doesn't have to fight the best.
Prince continued, Tevin got stopped by a kid in the first round.
A kid not named Gervonta Davis. And how many years was that after Gervonta Davis ducked him? Because that's what he did. He ducked Tevin Farmer in 2018, circa 2018, 2019. So that if Floyd Schofield, 6 or close to 7 years later, comes along and knocks out Tevin Farmer, Gervonta Davis don't get the credit for that. When Floyd Schofield eats, Gervonta Davis don't shit. Gervonta Davis ducked.
So that when he can't form a cohesive response for an argument that he started, I had to remind him, you should stop following me then and tweeting me, since you're the one who came to me, still waiting for a follow back.
Claiming that he doesn't want to go back and forth all day, but he's the one who initiated this entire conversation, injecting both Gervonta Davis and race.
Neither of which was the topic of discussion.
Yeah, he's the one that brought all that stuff up, so that when he thought I was a white guy, he started going off about that. Then he figured out I was a Latino, starts going off about that. Near as I can tell, you don't like anybody. You don't like the white guys, you don't like the Latinos, you hate everybody. Just to be the first one to play the victim if somebody happens to not like you.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta say the quiet part out loud. That a lot of these guys and gals you see online harping about racism and prejudice are the racists, are the prejudicial ones. Because how does an adult conversation about boxing devolve into racial slurs and mentions of ICE? Who brought all of that stuff up?
Wasn't me.
And all over what? Gervonta Davis? People are still playing defense attorney for that butterball, dying on a hill over him? His boxing career might be over.
But if you want to die on that hill, be my guest. It's your funeral.
Elsewhere in the world of boxing, bantamweight is likely next for Bam Rodriguez. Eddie Hearn said, we're planning the next fight for the end of May, early June, in San Antonio. Ubaldo Garcia has a mandatory against Maloney, which he can't get out of, and Maloney won't budge. were talking to BXSTRS about maybe staging Garcia versus Maloney. I'm talking to Bam and Robert about maybe moving to bantamweight, maybe fighting Chispo Medina, and then maybe returning to fight for Undisputed. Essentially, yo-yoing in weight. Going up to bantam to fight for a title, then moving back down to fight for Undisputed. Chispo Medina, who Eddie Hearn mentioned, is one of 4 champions in the bantamweight division. Medina's got the WBO, Seiya Tsutsumi got the WBA, Takuma Inoue has the WBC, and Jose Reyes has the IBF.
The biggest fight for Bam Rodriguez, should he ascend to the bantamweight division, would have to be the Takuma Inoue fight, not necessarily because of Takuma, but because of who Takuma's brother is, Naoya Inoue.
Takuma happens to be a 2-time bantamweight champion. He initially held the WBA title, I believe, and currently he holds the WBC, coming off that win over kickboxing star turned boxer Tenshin Nasukawa. They fought for the vacant green and gold title not that long ago. Takuma won it.
Takuma would be the biggest fight for Bam at 118 pounds. Second to him, I think, would be Seiya Tsutsumi, the WBA champion. The biggest fights for Bam Rodriguez all take him to the Far East, would all take him to Japan.
The 2 other champions at the weight, Jose Reyes, Chispo Medina, they've got belts too, but they make for comparatively smaller fights for Bam. What are Bam's chances of becoming an undisputed champion at this weight?
Pretty good, I think.
Bam is a more talented fighter than these guys. I think he's competed at a much higher level than they have for a longer duration of time. So upon moving up, you could give him good chances against them, not dissimilar from how you gave Inoue good chances. Bam! Against the bantamweights when he moved up there, and against the super bantamweights when he moved up there. Bam is that kind of fighter. Bam! Zuffa Boxing was said to have made a sizable offer to Bam Rodriguez to come over to their side of things, an offer that Matchroom just so happened to match, and so he's supposed to proceed with them. Zuffa seems to have taken a special interest in picking up fighters that Matchroom promotes, or fighters that Matchroom has promoted, which I think is a testament to Matchroom's promotional capabilities, because you're not going after anybody else's fighters as much as you're going after theirs. Currently,
yeah, we've seen that before.
That was Ben Shalom's strategy at Boxer. Upon inking the Sky Sports deal, he made it his mission to go after Matchroom's fighters. Some of Matchroom's guys, some of Matchroom's girls. In the end, it didn't pan out.
So I don't know that it's going to pan out for Zuffa.
Currently, Bam Rodriguez sits in the number 5 spot of the Ring IQ pound-for-pound list, behind Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson. Theoretically, if he were to become undisputed champion at Superfly, that might be enough for Bam to move past Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, because Devin's undisputed run was actually one of the weaker undisputed runs we've seen in recent memory. It's only comprised of really one fighter, George Kambosos. That's who he fought for most of those belts.
3 of them.
The other one, the first one he obtained, was one he was elevated to. He didn't beat a champion in order to be a champion. He was elevated to that position. And you think about Shakur is a 4-weight world champion. But across 4 weight classes, he only actually beat 3 reigning champions. Oscar Valdez for the WBC, Jamel Herring for the WBO, Teofimo Lopez for the WBO at 140. Bam's beaten the same number of champions as Shakur. Sonny Edwards from Lele Kafu, more recently Fernando Martinez. 1 or 2 Hall of Famers in there, in Gallo Estrada and Sor Rungvisai. That Bam is very much on the cusp of surpassing his contemporaries in Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, if he can become an undisputed champion at Superfly or become a 3-weight world champion at Bantam. May leapfrog ahead of them into the number 3 spot. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, Floyd Mayweather confirms Athens exhibition as Mike Tyson Africa date remains tentative, all en route to a Manny Pacquiao rematch ahead of Floyd Mayweather's return to professional boxing. Mayweather posted on Instagram this Monday, 2026 is already shaping up to be an exciting year for me. Europe, I'm on the way to entertain. Athens, Greece, get ready for an all-out exhibition. This summer will be a legendary battle. June is the month when history will be made at the Telecom Center. Different energy, different level. Zambidis first revealed plans for a June 27th event at the Oaka Arena, also known as the Telecom Center. In February, at the stage, Mayweather had not publicly confirmed his participation. And let's be honest, it's not enough for us to hear it from Mike Zambidis because he's just not a big enough name, not globally. It'll take for Floyd Mayweather to confirm whether or not it's happening, and it appears that he has. The Athens date now falls 3 months before Mayweather's September 19th rematch with Manny Pacquiao, which is officially signed for global broadcast on Netflix.
I think it accents the gravity of Floyd Mayweather's financial woes that he's still going to do this exhibition with Mike Zambidis, even though he's set to land a bigger score with Manny Pacquiao. What that tells me is this guy needs all the money that he can get as soon as possible.
But what about the Mike Tyson fight in Africa?
The April Africa report still awaits direct confirmation. Mayweather's public confirmation of the Greece event also draws clearer contrast with the previously reported April 25th exhibition in the Congo involving Mike Tyson. Earlier reports described the Africa date as tentatively set, but Mayweather has not confirmed it himself. Tyson has spoken publicly about the bout on multiple occasions, yet no formal announcement has come from Mayweather or Mayweather Promotions. With June in Athens confirmed and the September 19th Netflix rematch already signed, the April 25th Congo date remains a reported event until Mayweather confirms it the same way.
I had my reservations about the Mike Tyson exhibition from the very beginning, when they announced it in September of last year, because it's been that long.
They didn't give a date, and they didn't give a location. All of that didn't come out until fairly recently, and when it was announced that it's supposed to be going down in the Democratic Republic of the Congo
In April.
I became even more skeptical. What I think they were doing was they wanted to make a big announcement in order to perhaps draw a broadcaster, like a Netflix, for example, to throw some money at it. But when that doesn't happen, the event failed to materialize. And we're in March now, which doesn't give them a lot of time to promote a fight for April. So it's looking like the Mike Tyson fight isn't going to happen, but the Mike Zambidis fight will.
He's definitely fighting a guy named Mike, just not the one we initially thought.
So what do we need to know about Mike Zambidis? Mike Zambidis, born July 15th, 1980, is a professional Greek kickboxer and martial artist. He is an 18-time world champion, including former world version W5, Super Combat, and in a series of K1 tournaments and the Grand Prix champion. He mostly competed in the K1 Max, where he scored mostly knockouts.
The fight between him and Floyd is being billed as a pay-per-view that I don't imagine is going to sell all that well, since 3 months later, Floyd is set to fight in an even bigger fight on a huge platform in Netflix. So why would anybody kick out money to see him in an exhibition with a little-known kickboxer, little-known at least in the United States? Most people in America don't know Mike Zambidis, in spite of how decorated a kickboxer he was.
You ain't got no marquee value in America, and there are enough pay-per-views on schedule already that I don't imagine many Americans are going to pay to see this one.
Floyd Mayweather's brand power is not so much in 2026 that I feel that he can carry this event off his name alone. I do not expect many, if any, people to buy the Mike Zambidis pay-per-view. The Pacquiao fight, on the other hand, that's projected to surpass Tyson versus Paul as Netflix's most watched event.
But how could those two things be true at the same time?
Well, Pacquiao is obviously more well-known amongst boxing fans than a Mike Zambidis, but it also helps that the Pacquiao fight is not a pay-per-view. Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao 2 is being positioned as a streaming-era benchmark rather than a repeat of the 2015 pay-per-view model. Speaking exclusively to World Boxing News, event executive producer and Pacquiao Promotions CEO Jas Mathur said, "The first fight remains the benchmark, but he expects the sequel to be judged by a global reach. The 2015 fight set the bar as the highest-grossing pay-per-view event in boxing history," Mathur explained, adding that 11 years later, the two icons are positioned to raise it once again. In Mathur's view, broader access expands the event's potential scale. Back then, they shattered every record in the traditional pay-per-view era. Now, they're about to redefine the standard in the global streaming era. Mathur added, "With Netflix's worldwide reach and premium production approach, my expectation is that this becomes the most watched sporting event in Netflix history." He tied that expectation to existing Netflix live benchmarks, saying it would surpass their previous live streams of Tyson vs. Paul and Canelo vs. Crawford. Mathur said, "The aim is not to relive 2015 on a new stage. This isn't about matching what was done before." He continued, "It's about breaking barriers all over again and proving that when these two come together, they change the game."
You gotta be honest that their initial meeting, for as much as it was built up, left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. It was not a fan-friendly fight. Some would say that in spite of how well it performed at the box office and at the gate, it actually hurt the sport of boxing.
Because of its aesthetic, all the hoopla and the buildup of the fight did not match what we actually got on the night. So if these two guys getting together draws an audience, it's not simply because it's them, it's because it involves Netflix. It's because it involves a platform that so many people already have.
That's the game changer, not Floyd and Manny.
Floyd Mayweather's had this rematch with Manny in his back pocket for years now, and for years, it looked like it wasn't going to happen.
Till it came out that Al Heyman stole a good chunk of his money.
So deep in debt, with so many people, this is Floyd's best bet to get back in the black.
No, I didn't make as much money as you'd think fighting Floyd.
Did you get paid from that?
He still owes me $1.5 million, maybe more.
How does he owe you the money? Why don't you just like...
Here's what happened. He pre-sold the fight using my likeness to some company in, I think, Dubai or like the Middle East for $10 million cash. We ended up doing the fight in the States with a different company. That is the company that put on the fight. That is the company that paid me. But he sold our fight with my name and likeness to someone else in Dubai for $10 million cash. It's our fight, bro. Our deal was 15%. He smoked me. So I got 15% of it. 15% of $10 million is $1.5 million. That company paid him that money, is suing him. I actually don't know the status on that lawsuit. I should check in because he still owes me money, but he has a bunch of legal trouble at the moment. I don't think I'm ever getting the money.
He just sold his house in Vegas.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I think he's facing a bunch.
Rinsed on that house. He started at $14 million.
Yeah.
Sold for 6.6.
You hear it there. By now, Floyd Mayweather's financial struggles have become a popular talking point in several sectors, enough that you don't need to wonder why he's having an exhibition with a little-known kickboxer en route to a major fight. It's because he needs all the money he can get. Having already made so much throughout his boxing career, Floyd never quite figured out how to manage all of that money. He left that assignment to his trusted advisor, Al Heyman, who basically stole it, confirming what I've been saying for years.
Dispelling this aura he had as this entrepreneur, this business mogul, all Floyd really knows how to do is box, which is why he's still boxing at close to 50 years old.
Now, the Mike Zambidis payday and the Pacquiao payday, will that be enough to keep Floyd Mayweather's head above water? It's hard to say, because, like I said, he never quite figured out how to manage his money.
Still fucking it off on bullshit.
On status symbols and trinkets like a kid in a candy store. Spending money like that, you're sure to go broke in no time.